And we're talking about the doctors, the lawyers, the treasurers, corporate treasurers, computer programmers who are making very good incomes. And often these are two-family earners. So you have a highly paid nurse and a doctor, or you have two lawyers, and their incomes are very high. And the reason I got on this subject, and I wanted to correct the public discourse, because these people, and when I started, they were probably making 250 to 400,000 a year. You'd have to bump that up to probably 350 to 600 today, just adjusted for inflation. But they were always being characterized as the rich. And the discourse in Washington was always the rich are not paying their fair share. But these are the people who don't have any tax shelters at all. Unlike people who are self-employed, for example, or people who get a lot of their income in cash or whatever it happens to be, they file W-2 forms. There's no getting away from any kind of tax benefits that they have. They're not benefiting from any of the famous deductions that you can get if you're self-employed, for example. Although maybe it's medical practices, perhaps. But that's about it. They were mainly working for big companies. They're very highly paid, but they're not rich. And my conclusion from these stories is analyzing, and of course I interviewed many of them for the stories, because I did 2 or 3 subsequent Henry stories. Headline Henrys. The first story didn't have the headline of Henrys. The term kind of came in late in the story. But then when I realized that it was really catching on, I piled in and did several stories specifically about this demographic. But what really got it going was the observation that they would never be rich, right? Because rich is not your income. Rich is your net worth. So would these people who are making, say today it's $400,000 a year, combined in $500,000 a year even, what sounds like gigantic amounts, would they have the savings over time to ever have the kind of several $1 million at least net worth that you would need in retirement to be considered rich? Although that definition certainly has bounced around a lot. But my conclusion was no. And the reason was their expenses, in addition to are very high. I mean, you start with the tax rates, because they tend to live in high tax jurisdictions